Hello, talkers, and happy Thursday. Welcome to a new episode of For the Talkers, where we make new connections through learning and laughing. I had the absolute honor of interviewing Giovanna today, and I'll tell you a little bit more about her. But first, I just wanted to do a little reminder recap. I haven't in a while, but this season is all on confidence. So I have found some amazing women to record with and talk to about confidence. So next week's episode will be a little bit different for the holidays coming up. We've got a fun book review. I'm going to have my sisters on, and then we'll be doing some things that we're grateful for, of course, in the Burr months, right, with the holidays and just kind of that special holiday feeling, which me and Giovanna talk about the flip side of this time of year with the weather changing. So be sure to listen to that. It's so perfect. Giovanna was so well articulated. She could just say things so perfectly. So this is going to be a lovely, lovely episode. But yes, we're talking all about confidence, and we've had a few specific topics and confidence within those. Like last week, we talked about intuitive eating and how to have confidence in your eating habits. And this week is really just straight up confidence, specifically as a woman too. And Giovanna made some amazing points, and overall, she was just entertaining, super fun to talk to, great person to connect with. And really, that is what this podcast is about. It's so hard with just the world and everything that is going on to make new connections. It's hard, it's tricky, and especially depending on the season of life that you're in, it can be even trickier. And so this is a great place to be if you're looking to make some new friends. My little notes for Giovanna when I was writing that she is a girl's girl. Okay, she gets it. She's real, she's honest, she's down to earth. And honest was another word that I felt like came up a lot for me when we were recording. She's so vulnerable and doesn't I just felt like she was being so honest, and I don't know, you don't always get that from people. So that was really, really lovely. And Giovanna is a soon to be author. Her book will be released shortly here. She kind of talks about her story with that. It's really special. So be sure to listen to that. But really, that's all I have today. Remember to leave a rating and review. Really helps the show get out to others. I'm in finals. Well, finals are in a couple weeks. So I'm nearing the end of my semester, and I have some great ideas for the podcast. So I just appreciate you all being here with me through this journey. I can't wait to see how For the Talkers evolves as we move into 2025. And I'm just grateful for you all and your support. It means the world to me. And I don't have anything else to say because I just want you guys to hear what Giovanna has to share. So let me tell you a little bit more about her. Giovanna is a creator and entrepreneur whose journey includes the entertainment industry to the world of wellness. With a background rooted in Hollywood, she worked creating Marvel's Thor and produced the celebrated short film Wind in the Willows with an Oscar-winning crew in New Zealand. As a passionate storyteller and lifetime influencer, Giovanna blends her love for creativity with a commitment to empowering women. She is the founder of the international active wear brand Confused Girl in the City and author of the upcoming book Confused Girl: Find Your Peace in the Chaos, which offers a heartfelt mix of memoir and motivational guidance. Giovanna values self-acceptance, courage, and joy, which all shine through her in her work, inspiring others to embrace their journey and boldly pursue their dreams. And those values of courage and joy definitely come through in today's episode. So I can't wait for you all to listen. So join me in welcoming Giovanna. And okay. Hello, Giovanna. I'm so excited to be recording with you today.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, I'm going to start. So my happy this week is I'm kind of planning a wedding. It's going to be in a little while and there's a lot on my plate, but I'm slowly working on the details. And I reached out to this girl that I know from high school that just got married, and she had this gorgeous wedding dress. And so I just reached out to her about it, and I was like, if this is weird or you're private about your wedding dress, I totally understand. But she was such a girl's girl. She was like sending me links, telling me all the things she liked about it, that she didn't like about it. So that was like, it made me so happy because I was like a little nervous to reach out. And it was so nice. And I was like, yes, you are a girl's girl.
Wow. And this is your wedding, not a friend's wedding.
Yeah, mine.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. Nervous too. It's like a lot to figure out, but we'll get there. Okay. And then my funny is I have a cousin, but he's like, how old is he? He's like 10. And my partner works with children for her job. And so kids just kind of like gravitate towards her, and she's really good at being able to like relate to them. And he was just cracking me up. He just loves to follow her around and anything that he can relate to Minecraft. He's like trying to talk to her about Minecraft. And it just cracks me up the way that he just like is right by her side. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's kind of like this. Oh, like in Minecraft. Cause like that's something they can connect on. So it just cracks me up.
Oh my gosh, that's really cute.
And then my sad is just, I feel like with the weather changing, I just feel that kind of wintertime blues already setting in. So just making me sad this week that we're getting into kind of that groggy, just cold. I just want to curl up and not do anything kind of mood.
Well, I'm happy you said that because I was feeling that way the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, maybe it's just hormones or, and I mean, because even I'm in Los Angeles but like today's super overcast. And the last 2 days were beautiful. I mean, blue skies, not even a cloud in the sky, but it was cold.
Yeah.
It was a little windy. And so it just kind of feels like this calming down. And so after this, I'm actually going to go to yoga, hot yoga,
Yes.
because I know that will perk me up a little bit, keep
I
the
love it.
endorphins going.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Yeah. It's universal. We're all feeling it.
Yeah, yeah, it is universal. It's good to remind people of that because they could be thinking like, "What's wrong with me?" Because I'm sitting on the couch going, "Do I want to contact someone to do something tonight? I kind of want to do something tonight just to get out of the house." And I'm like, "But I actually don't. I kind of want to watch The Empress and
Yeah.
just have tea."
Yes, yes, spot on. That's so yeah, and it's just like we just have to get through it every year.
Yeah, it's just a transition. And then I think
Yes.
once we're in it, it's fine, but there is a transition that happens. I know definitely with my body. We just get really depleted, really exhausted.
Yes, I've been saying lately, I'm like, I'm just tapping into that like feminine, like I just want to hibernate and like I
I
want to
mean, it's
bake everyone cookies. Like what's going on here?
yeah, no, it's really true. And just feeling very like melancholy,
Yes.
not having that, woo, let's go
Yeah.
party or let's go do something or, just kind of like, "Mm."
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point though. It's definitely the transition and then we're like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah, exactly. We're in it now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I wanna hear your intertwined, happy, sad moment for the week.
Okay. So, my sad and happy moment are correlated, they're connected. So I received my advanced copies of my book, which is like my happy of the year.
Yes, yes.
Like, I mean, that's just, whoa, this has been 6 years in progress and it's happening. So that was my happy. And I received it on my father's birthday. And my father passed away a year and a half ago. So it's like sad, because
Yeah,
he's seeing it from spirit world, not, from physical world. But so that was my sad, but then also my happy, which is
yeah,
just honestly a metaphor for this like last year for me. It's been the combination of like some of the happiest moments and some of the saddest moments. It's just been like that. And then my funny is I love making my mom laugh until she pees her pants. And I did that this week. That
you said
always makes me really proud of myself and happy.
yeah, mission accomplished, right? That is quite a talent. I'm going to, as the holidays come up, I'm gonna take that and see who I can make laugh so hard they pee their pants over the holidays. I think that's
Yeah,
great.
you gotta get someone who's, like, notorious for doing
Yeah.
that, though. My mom's notorious for doing that,
Yeah.
so she's, like, an easy target, but
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, that is perfect. Great kind of intro to today's episode, talking all about confidence. So, before we get into that, I just would love for you to share a little bit more about you, your book, and just kind of your passions and what you're kind of up to. And then we'll get into how you're confident through those.
okay. Well, I mean, I would say my journey, my kind of awakening journey, right, started about a decade ago. So before that, I was working in the film industry in Hollywood, and I rose to like pretty high positions. I was working with like a lot of celebrities and bigwigs, and I thought I was very cool. But after doing that for a few years, I became very like disillusioned with all of it and very unhappy. So then I went home. My parents, had an Italian restaurant. I grew up in my parents' Italian restaurant. That's probably where I get my entrepreneurial, you know,
Yes.
I thought, okay, maybe I'll take over my parents' restaurant. So I was there for like a year and a half and I was miserable and unhappy. And so I found myself I felt as if I had wasted all of these years doing things that either I think I should be doing or doing things to look cool. And I didn't even know who I was. So I fell into a very deep depression. It happened about around, they call it Saturn returns. It's around like 28, probably like 27 to 30 years old. That can kind of happen for you. And I just fell into like this really deep depression and I didn't want to live anymore. I was like, if this is the way life is going to go, I don't want to do life anymore. And I rather, end it all. But before I take that extreme path, I'm going to try to figure this out. I was like, I have to warrior up and see if I can, fix my brain. Because at that time, I felt as if I was in a mental prison and I couldn't, and it was like all my negative thoughts were playing on a loop and I actually couldn't stop it. It became very like obsessive compulsive. And so I just really got very disciplined and I started doing yoga every day and meditation and reading books and watching YouTube videos. And I did this therapy called neurofeedback. And like I was doing everything I could to like get myself out of this. So, one of the things that I found that was really profound during this time was I had to acknowledge to myself that I was confused and lost and didn't know who I was. And that was really shameful because it was kind of like go to the good, you went to private school your entire life, go to the good schools, get the good career, like, have the boyfriend, you're just like on this path and you're like, I'm like need to be little Miss Perfect. And then you get to this place where you're like, I don't even know who I am. What is this all for? And and I need to accept that I took myself to this point and now I'm confused. So, as I was coming out of this dark hole I was in, I started a blog called Confused Girl in the City because it was like confusion as accepting this confusion has really been the key thing that has gotten me out of my dark hole. Just accepting it and then going on a journey of discovery instead of like feeling shameful. Which it's so silly to feel shameful actually, because the thing is no one comes in here with like a manual for your life. It's not like Elizabeth was born and here's a manual for your life.
Right. But, like, it almost feels like it. Like you're saying, like, I did all the things, I checked off all the boxes.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think the checking off the boxes is what really gets people into trouble. Like they'll get into marriages and have kids and get buy the house and then have the mortgage, and then they're like, "Oh my god, what have I done? I don't like, I have all of this responsibility and don't even know who I am, and I'm unhappy." And that leads, I think, to a lot of suicides.
Yeah, I would agree. I would totally agree. Like you're saying, it's almost like you're just going along as if there were a manual, and then you get to that point of like, oh, there isn't. And so why did I do all that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly, because we're like listening to what everybody else is saying around us, whether it's society, whether it's our families, and we're not listening to our inner guidance system. And so with my blog and then my book, I want to teach people how to use confusion to accelerate their life and connect with their internal guidance system so that they can avoid these gigantic pitfalls, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. No, I think that's great. And I think you're like spot on. And also, I feel like it's kind of untouched almost of that spot of confusion. I think, yeah, just spot on. Like how many of us like get confused and then we just, I feel like almost fill in the blanks or, kind of like speed it up instead of sitting in that confusion. Like, okay, what is this telling me? And yeah, that's really interesting.
And thank you so much for saying that because like no, because that this is untapped because
Yeah.
no, you're right. So that's actually why I have been screaming this for like a decade. Fusion is a virtue, and that if we can learn to utilize it instead of reject it and shame ourselves, we actually could uncover who we really are and live the life that we came here to live, right?
Totally.
So I've been saying that for like a decade now. And I built up a yoga wear line around this. And then I wrote a book about this. And then for 2 years, it was rejected by publishing companies. Right. And I thought, God, I know this was in my soul to write this book. I feel actually like it was like divinely came through. Like this is,
Yeah.
and then I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm just going to have to self publish because it's nobody wants it. Right.
Sure.
And what was really cool about this moment was it did not affect my self worth. Where before, right, a decade before, had I been rejected like this, I would have been on the ground crying every day, feeling worthless. And
Yeah.
now I'm just like, okay, well, maybe the universe wants me to do something different with this. Maybe it needs to go on a different path, right? So I kind of just accepted that. And I put a date in my phone. Okay, 2 weeks after the new year, I am going to take my book proposal back from my agent and self publish. So, right after the new year, I got an email from my agent that says, great way to start the new year. A publishing company is interested in your book.
Amazing.
And I was like, "Oh god, that's so crazy," because I was literally, like, I don't know, maybe 10 days from taking it from her.
Yeah, well, and you like you said, you had years of trying, so, like, that timing, like, you can't say that's not, like, a sign meant to be, like
Right? And the timing even gets crazier. So at this time, my father is like dying of cancer, right? When this is all happening. And because my dad was an immigrant from Italy, he was really all about like I sacrificed my life for my children and I want to see them be successful here in this country.
Totally.
And so he's passing away. Then I have this publishing company that wants my book. Then another publishing company comes on board and is like, "No,
Wow.
we want it." So they doubled the offer of the first publishing.
Wow. Wow.
And
Talk about success right there.
I was like, "What? I've been screaming this at the top of my lungs for 2 years, y'all." Like what, I mean in the for the book for it was 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I signed a deal 2 months before my father passed away.
Wow.
So it's like he got to know that this was all moving forward and happening for me and everything. So And then just receiving the advanced copies on his birthday. It's just all of this stuff. It's just been the most incredible journey with all the feels, all the ups and downs. And I want to teach other people how to, because I really feel like I am on my life path. And I want to teach other people how to find their own unique life path. Not do it like me,
Yeah. Yeah, I
figure
was
out how
just
to
gonna
teach
say, like, that's
it.
so key, your own personal, because there are so many things out there, and it's almost like, "Well, that's great, and that works for you, but I'm not sure how that could so specifically relate to me." I think that's great. My guest last week was an intuitive eating coach, and she was on that same kind of wavelength that it's so refreshing where she's like, look, this works for me and this works for a lot of other people, but it might not work for everyone and that's okay. So I love that of just like you found something and you want to give that to others so that they can find their own thing. That's so amazing and inspiring. Like I'm just like, okay, I'm ready. Like I love this. So thank you for sharing that journey. Thinking back to kind of that time in your life when you're in the film industry and at first it feels right, it feels like I've made it. I'm sure you were having a lot of confident feelings at that time. So I'm curious what you would say thinking back to that time, what you thought confidence was then. Now, going through the journey that you have, what you would say kind of feeling that true confidence is now.
My gosh, Elizabeth, that is such a great question. And I'm very excited to answer that.
Yeah.
So back then, it was a very superficial confidence. It was like, and I say this in my book too, because I write about this. It was like being on a teeter tot, you know? So one minute you're feeling really confident and like,
Mm,
got this. Like, I just met with the president of the company and I'm working with all these like celebrities and people and I'm really young still and everyone's liking me and everything. So then I'm like high on the teeter tot, right? I'm like, woo, I'm superior. It was confidence back then relied on me feeling better, like I was better than others.
mm,
It's embarrassing to admit that, but it's true. But then when something would happen, right? Like I
yeah.
had a day or somebody reprimanded me or something didn't go the way I wanted it to go, I was low on the teeter tot, right? So now I was feeling like I was lower than everybody. Everybody was better than me. I am the lowest of the low. So it was constantly when I was younger, it was like this constantly. And it got to a point where even being on the high didn't feel good anymore because it
Yeah.
didn't feel good to be like I'm superior, because that's not true. That's just not true.
Yeah, and like you're saying, superficial, like super just not true to you, just kind of that outward confidence.
Yeah, because the thing is if you don't know who you are, your confidence is not real.
Right. Like you
You
can't
know,
really be confident.
You can. If you don't know who you are, how can you be confident? Because you're you're next to something that you don't
Yeah.
even know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, sure, you could have confidence, but it would be in a false kind of identity or a false, just like an untrue reality or kind of what we were talking about before of like just some picture of someone you have in your head and it's not truly you.
Exactly. And that can only last for so long and it's painful because, you're always flipping between up and down and superior and inferior. And so how I am now is I f- I'm more confident now than I've ever been in my life because I feel like there is a level of comfort in knowing with myself. And I don't feel superior or inferior than other people anymore. Like that's disappeared. It's more just like I'm confident in the things I'm doing. I go after the things I'm doing. I kind of check in with myself and I'm like, okay, it's time to rest or we're feeling a little bad today. Let's just kind of like hunker down and stay in. And try to figure out what's going on. It's just honestly for me now it's almost like a peace with thyself, the confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I don't know if I've heard that kind of specific way of putting it yet, but I think that that's so true. Very, very peaceful. Not
Yeah.
competitive, not like almost intense, just kind of peace. I like that.
Yeah, and it's actually really interesting because I would say I had a very low level of self-worth before, and which made me incredibly ambitious, but it also made me very impatient and miserable, right? But now as I've gotten more like I feel like I have self-worth. And I can get insecure sometimes, and I will be insecure sometimes, especially, as women with the hormones and stuff. We're like, I feel sad or
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? Like, which affects our confidence a
You're
little
still
bit.
a human being. You're still gonna have feelings and ups and
Yeah.
downs.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, I feel like those are like little insecurities that bug me out, but it's not affecting the self worth. Like the self worth is like strong and it's like
Yeah.
not affecting my self worth. It's just like bugged out little insecurities sometimes.
Yeah.
And so because I have a stronger sense of self worth, I am less, I don't want to say ambitious, but in a way, kind of because I'm not but I don't think that's a bad thing because now I just
Yeah.
kind of concentrate on one thing and I'm like, "This is enough."
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I can like picture what you're saying of like you get to this point where it's like almost like you're proving something. So your ambition's not necessarily like you're saying like ambition in general, it's good, but without that kind of centering, it's just it's like you're trying to prove something and you're burning yourself out and you're like doing too much. Whereas now you like you're saying you have that centralized, like, okay, I can actually focus and you still work hard, but not that burnout level.
Yeah, it's as if I don't need to prove to myself that I deserve to be here anymore. Before it
Yeah.
was like, I need to do all these things. I need to go to a good university. I need to get a good job. I need to look cool. I need to have, cool outfits or whatever cuz I need to prove that I am worthy of being here.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel that way at all anymore.
It's
Now,
amazing.
no, it's so incredible. And when you get to this point, you kind of forget what it was like until you kind of revisit it and you
Sure.
go, gosh, I'm so grateful that I'm where I am at right now. Like, thank you, like grateful.
Yeah. Well, that's refreshing and, like, good to hear that it when you do get through those hard things, it's not something that you constantly back reflect back on or are feeling stuck in, like, that's comforting, I guess, for lack of a better word, that you do kind of forget.
You do. It's almost like it never happened.
Amazing, amazing.
It's like a new life, new way of being.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, and it took a long time to get to that point,
and a
but
lot of work.
a lot of work, a lot of
Yeah,
internal work. But that's why also like I wanted to write all of this down because I feel like I needed to share it with other women. I basically wrote like the book for me at that time.
amazing. Yeah, that is so perfect, and I like what you're saying, adding in that especially for women piece, right? Because it is, I feel like, as women, this is something more specific that we do go through and we do get kind of more caught up in that and especially that confusion and the shame cycle, right? Like, that is far too common.
So common. And it was funny because, I have a friend who's older than me and she's going through perimenopause. And she was like, I'm having trouble sleeping. And she's like, maybe it has to do with the perimenopause, but I don't know. And then I talked to my mom, and my mom's like, oh, I did not sleep. It's
Yeah.
totally the perimenopause. It's not because of something weird with her. It's just. And so I called her and I was like, listen, you're not
You're
crazy.
okay.
Like, you're gonna be okay. It's just, and then she goes, why isn't there more information like out there about this? Why isn't there more information? And and it's like we got into this conversation about how women suffer in silence. Like we have through the generations suffered in silence. For years I thought I was crazy during my period. I thought there was something really wrong with me.
Yeah, but to, like, say that to someone, it feels, again, like that shame of like, well, everyone else is okay, everyone else is able to do this every month, but it's like they're doing the same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, and like, oh, periods are shameful, bleeding shame, like, and and I'm just like, well, what if men had periods? Like,
they could never.
what would what would we there would probably be like so many things out there to help them. It would be a sign of like strength that we can bleed and not die.
No, literally, seriously, I'm like, free period products wouldn't even be a question, like, that would be taken care of long ago. Yeah, yeah, no, that's so funny. We're strong because we can bleed and not die. That's totally what the message would be.
Right? That is what the message would be. Like,
Yes.
we are, like, so strong. Well, I think it's such a cool time because women are able to express themselves and be relevant like they never have before. It was it was kind of like back in the day after maybe even after 30, you're, like, washed up, then you know what I mean? Just
Yeah, yeah.
married, you have kids, and there's nothing interesting coming out of you. There's nothing, like you did your duty, goodbye. And I love it now because there's like 70-year-old women who are models
Yeah.
about life in their 70s and what to expect when you hit your 70s and stuff. And I'm like, I love that. You have value as long as you're here on this planet offering value.
Yes. Yes, and yeah, so important and fun to see these women who are so confident in all their age stages. Because, like you're saying, like, they've always existed and they've been there, but they've never been given the spotlight, right? That's reserved for the 20-year-olds, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and like exactly. And gosh, there's so much life, like, I think at every decade, it, like, teaches you something new, there's something cool and new to experience. I just love that women are no longer trying to get their value through a man, they're getting it from themselves.
Totally. Totally. And what a great way to what a great step to put you on that journey to be able to become truly confident in yourself. Cause totally like you're not gonna be able to gain that through someone else.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to gain that through somebody else,
No.
and people keep trying.
Unfortunately.
It's painful, and I get that because I did that too. I did that for a very long time, so
Yeah.
I just know that by doing that, it doesn't work, and you're basically like and what did my this back in my 20s, this lady I knew, she said that I was a endless pit of neediness. Yeah, an endless
Interesting.
neediness.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't wrong. I mean, kudos to her to tell me what's up. I mean, I still remember that because and
Yeah.
she said to me, and I was like, "I know, and I don't know how to get out of that," you know?
Sure.
Now I'm not. My friend actually said to me, "You are the most independent person I have ever met in my life."
Wow. Quite a switch, right?
I know, right? Like, talk about being totally opposite because I felt that pain of being like a glass with no bottom, and you could,
Totally.
like, pour the whole ocean me, and it was still empty.
Yeah. So so with that, like thinking about your journey and everything that you like intentionally did and also that just kind of happened, would you say, like specifically thinking about your confidence, if there was a specific moment, a specific event, or like something that you did that maybe not, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm so confident now, but it made you go, "Okay, like, this is gonna be more realistic." Like, my journey in becoming like, figuring out myself and becoming that confident person, like, "I can do it now. This is realistic. This is attainable." Like, can you think of anything? I know you shared some big moments, but if there was anything else that kind of made that change for you?
Okay, I think there's 2. I think it was 1, what started it was accepting that I was lost and confused. I didn't know who I was. I was severely depressed and I had to do something about it. Like there was no other way. And so I what I did was I started to do one new thing every week to figure out what I liked and what I didn't like and who I was. And the first week of doing this, I went bungee jumping and I jumped off of a bridge called the Bridge to Nowhere. And it was like this scary, like the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. It was so, and what I realized is that I did not like bungee jumping, but I felt so alive. And
I
I
mean, even
felt,
just seeing a video of bungee jumping, like, my heart is racing, I'm like, "Oh." So
I
I can't even
know.
imagine being the one doing it.
I realized I wasn't an adrenaline junkie. I realized that this is not me. But like having the courage to jump off of a bridge with just like rocks and dirt underneath you, like I was like, I got balls. I can do things.
Totally.
If I can jump off of a bridge called the Bridge to Nowhere, I can do other things. So I would say one is like taking the first step in action, and maybe it is doing something crazy like like bungee jumping or skydiving, just to because when you're depressed, you don't feel alive. So it was like a jump start of like my engine, you know?
Totally.
And I would say the second thing where I really gained so much confidence, and this happened maybe like a year and a half after that bungee jump, where I started to travel solo. I had a friend who was traveling solo and she would come back with all these adventures and I was really envious of her. And I thought to myself, okay, well, what like why can't I do it? If she can do it, then why can't I? And I kind of made a little list in my head of like all the ways that, you know, were similar and I could do this too. And so again, I took the leap. I booked a trip to Europe and I first went and met up with a friend. So it wasn't like too scary.
Yeah, kinda meet in the middle a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was with a friend for like a couple days. And then from there I went off on my own and I went to like Prague and Budapest and Athens, all like by by myself. There was somewhere else. Did I say Berlin? Oh, and too. I don't know if I said that, but
Uh-uh.
so I went to all these places alone. And I just had the first, like being alone, the first 2 cities, I was scared. But by the time I got to Berlin, I was like, I can do this. I'm not scared anymore. Let's go, adventure. Let's do this. And so I totally faced my fear and I beat it. And then that's what prompted me to move to Indonesia and write my book, you
Amazing.
know? So, and there's something about traveling alone where you get so much confidence because you are totally reliant on yourself. Like there's nobody there to pass something by. Like, oh, you think this would be a good idea? Or no, 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 no. It's all on you. It's traveling alone was a huge confidence booster. Huge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Just even thinking about it, like, in my travels, that would be just a completely different experience, and I can totally see where that builds a ton of confidence, like, you and then how fun, like, you come home and you go, "I did that. I did that. I just traveled by myself." I mean, I just think about, like, even just, like, all the decisions that you have to make when you're traveling, like, to do that alone, that's so awesome, but then to also, like I feel like that's probably pretty special to, like, also have those experiences and just go, like, "That was for me." You know, like, I saw that, and it was just me, and I did that, and it was just me. That's so awesome.
Yeah. And another thing, like because being especially being a woman in foreign countries, different language, different people, all the things, right? You really have to pay attention to your intuition. in your like inner guidance system. You have to for safety, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I should walk down that street.
Yeah.
Go around, even though that's a shorter way. Just and so when you are constantly working in unison with your internal guidance system and your intuition, that builds confidence because you trust.
Yeah.
That's confidence, is trusting yourself. So it's like you start to develop that trust and you just build on your confidence, which is a really good feeling because then you also don't have to wait for people. You want to go do something, you're like, I'm just going to go do this. I don't need to wait for someone to like come with me. And
Right.
people go, I like to share things with people. And I'm like, you know how many people I meet on tours and share things with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, it's nice to just also have my moments to myself and share it with myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
How
mean,
about yeah, that is so, so perfect. I'm just thinking, is there any other tip, for lack of a better word, or actionable step as if people are, feeling inspired and solo travel is amazing but it's kind of, more of a bigger thing, a bigger commitment. So if there's anything else that you can think of, people wanting to become more confident and get comfortable in that confusion and all of those amazing, like, self-figuring out things, any tips or actionable steps you would share?
I would honestly start with trying one new thing a week.
I love
Yeah.
it. So simple.
So simple. I mean, just get a class pass and go,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a boxing class or I'm going to go do this or go on Groupon and see what thing you can go to and try. And honestly, go by yourself. Go by yourself. Like even, there are those silent parties where you put on the and you're dancing.
Uh,
That's self-expression. I mean, I, I I would say to somebody, go and try these things and then say, oh no, didn't like that. Like this. And then do more of the things that you like doing. Because that's self-love.
yeah, yeah, and that discovery, right? Like, going way back to the beginning of there isn't a manual, you gotta figure it out.
Honestly, you really do. It's very and it's I mean, you can even discover like I thought I liked this color my entire life, but actually don't. I really like this color. You
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I like to look at my life as this like great grand adventure. I'm just taking myself on this like grand adventure and we're like always figuring things out. And I hope like I will always be a confused and curious girl.
Amazing. Amazing. So, if people want to read your book or if they're like, "How do I find her? I wanna hear more from her." Where can they do that? How can they do that?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram at Confused Girl LA. And you can pre order my book on my website, confusedgirlinthecity.com.
Amazing. Perfect. I will link those in the show notes as well, so people can check those out. This has been amazing. I know everyone listening is gonna go, "Yep, I'm gonna read that book, and I am going to figure myself out, and we're gonna become confident women." Okay, I love it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I like to end with something a little lighter, kind of fun. What is something that you're looking forward to with kind of November, December months, right? There's a lot going on. What's something you have coming up that you're looking forward to?
This is a second Thanksgiving without my father. And we usually do like, big, crazy meals with like turkey kind of comes last. We do like this Italian thing and everything. And so my mom and I are doing Thanksgiving a little differently. And we're going to get dressed up and we're going to go to this really nice Italian restaurant. It's on the top of Gucci in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
I'm just looking forward to just like being with my mom and having like that special time and getting dressed up and then going to dinner at a really beautiful Italian restaurant and just celebrating each other and my father. And then we're going to go to like this botanical garden night light show where they like
Wow.
light up everything. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a space for like those big gatherings, but there is definitely something to be said for those like smaller kind of special, and the light show after that just sounds beautiful. So I wish you the best in that you just have an
Just
amazing
fun
time.
and no stress, just
Yes,
wanna take the
yes.
stress out of the holiday and let's just, celebrate my dad and spend time with each other and just make it chill.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, this year, my parents, they have turned into these little travelers. And so they have a couple grandkids. So they're going to take me and my siblings to Disneyland for Christmas. So that is definitely something I'm looking forward to. Seeing the little kiddos get to experience Disneyland. And I'm just really excited.
Gosh, that's so cute. I can't
Yeah.
Disneyland at Christmas must be insane.
I think it will be. We're going, like, a couple days after, kinda, like, right around the New Year, so hopefully it's my mom said, her little travel agent said it's the great time to go, so we'll see.
I bet it will be. I bet it'll be gorgeous. That sounds like so much fun.
Yes, yeah, so we're excited, but this has been amazing. Thank you for being so vulnerable and just sharing so much about yourself. It's so great to learn about what other people have done, and we can learn from them, and I love that kind of how you just want to help others be able to find out their thing. I think that's so, so perfect.
Thank you. I think that's definitely why I'm on this planet. Thank you, Elizabeth. You are so sweet, and I
Thank
really appreciate
you.
the conversation. Thank you.